Okay, in an effort to defarb our bivouac during World War II reenactments, I have been making wooden boxes, one as a cover for my cooler, and now I need to make a box to cover up the propane tanks for my cook stove. Now, to be fair, I cannot take credit for this idea. I first seen this from a friend of mine named John Thomas, who made one. I'm going to make a very similar box, but I'm going to change a few details. First thing we need to do is cut the bottom of our box to the correct width so that our propane tanks will fit in there. Now, I've already measured and taken the width of the widest propane tank settlement ring. I'm going to cut this about a rip of 8.5 inches width. Put my wood. As I said previously, this has got a 10-inch slide on it. I got a 24-inch board, so I need to make up the difference. So now that I have my bottom piece, I'm basically going to cut this same piece 2 more times because we need a bottom, a lid, and then a center piece that the burners are going to sit on. So basically I need 3 of these. So I'm going to quickly cut 3 of these and save you guys the boredom. What I need to do is to measure the height so we can see how high of a box we need to build. Now, as you see, I have 2 different burners here. One is a Coleman burner that I got off of Amazon Prime for 30 bucks, not counting the tank, which I thought was a pretty good deal because it was the cheapest one listed on Amazon. But today when I went to Walmart to get tanks, I got 2 tanks for 6 bucks, and I noticed that Walmart had their Oregon Trail brand burner for 15 bucks. And I knew that I wanted to make a double burner system because at some point you're going to want to make coffee while you're making your eggs or what have you. So for the price, I went ahead and picked up the $17 one. The nice thing about this is this will actually give me a legitimate way to compare the 2 products through use, to see if one breaks down first, see if one actually works better. And so perhaps in the future I will update this video. Now obviously I got 2 different burner shapes, but once again I really don't care. For the price, you couldn't beat it. The nice thing is they are the same height roughly. So what I'm going to do now is measure from the bottom to the top to get my height so we know how high of a box to create for the sides. I will spare you the boredom of that. Now they're both roughly 12 inches. Now these tanks do screw onto the burners, so I don't know if I will actually use these stands inside the box, which really won't matter. So I'm probably going to make the height about 12 inches, 12.25 inches, maybe even go 12.5. I'm not worried about the weight of these tanks hanging off these burners. I would rather have plenty of clearance in there. So I'll probably make the height of the first level of the box 12.5 inches. So I'm going to create my side panels at 12.5 inches. So this is 1.5 inches by 1/4 inch. And I think it's about 5 feet long, but obviously I'm going to cut it down. This is the material I will use for the end caps of my box. So once again, we're going to measure 12.5. We're going to make 2 of those, and then I have to measure the width here to create the top and the bottom of the box. So now we have all the end pieces. These are 8.5, these will be the bottom, 2 for each side. These are 12, these will be the height. Now for the most part, the nails that I use on this are simply going to be for appearance sake and to hold this together while it dries. I do use wood glue on these because anybody who's ever taken wood shop knows that wood glue actually holds stronger than nails and stronger than actual wood itself. So I'm just going to put some wood glue on there and then slowly assemble this frame. And I was going to show you the height. Now let's go ahead and see if we did this right or if we screwed up. We'll know if we screwed up if the height of our burner is above the height of our box. No. Okay, now keep in mind we don't want this to be above this because our pan is going to sit on there. So we want clearance. And furthermore, we may be taking these stands off. So at least we got that height right for now. Step in this project is we need to make the skins for these end caps. Basically we're just going to cut some plywood to go on here. Now for most of this project I am using a 1/4 inch wood, but for these side pieces I'm going to use a thinner wood, 1/8 inch wood, because I don't need super heavy duty, especially with the thickness of those. And so now we have our side pieces that we are going to attach to there. Now once again, we're going to drill pilot holes on these because when you're nailing into that wood, it will potentially crack it out. Because when you nail into that thin of wood, you will just blow it out. So always make sure to drill pre-holes. Usually I would suggest you drill holes into your wood before nailing them through, but I'm using these small finish nails to make them look more error correct. And so I'm hoping I will try to just get away with tapping them through that. And I will put a ring of glue around that just to give it some rigidity and some strength. And so as I said, I just applied some glue. I want to nail, this is our bottom piece on. Since this is the bottom, I'm going to use larger nail heads. You won't see them, so it really won't matter as far as authenticity goes. Actually, I may even go one better. I think because this is the bottom of the box and I want some strength to it, I think I'm going to use some screws just so that we can be sure that we are secure and I don't want our box falling apart. I do need to slide it over because I do have a little bit of a gap there. We will make it work because as I said earlier, they produce these sort of things so quickly as far as shipping boxes, because that's merely all they were. The boxes used for shipping goods. That they didn't have to be perfect. The whole purpose of this template is so that I know how big of a hole I need to drill in the tabletop where the burners are going to sit. It's a little large, so I'm going to go smaller diameter than that. So I'll trace that and then I will go in shorter before I cut it out. And we'll get started on that. So what I did next is using a spacer in the template. I measured 1.5 inches off the inside on both sides. And now I have my rings. Now once again I'm going to cut smaller than the dimensions of those. What I'll probably do is measure in on each side and go from there. But next we're going to cut. Now this isn't attached yet, and what I did is I just built some brackets down here that I can screw this tabletop into, because this is where the burners are going to sit. Now on a normal box you don't have this extra 1.5 inch lip, but because the burners are going to be sitting up and the way that this box is created, the lid is going to come to here, and this side is going to prevent the lid from sliding backwards. Obviously this front side I can't really have that high because then my skillets and pots won't fit there. But the whole purpose of this is to help keep the lid from sliding backwards. I may even raise these up a little bit, but we will come up with a solution for that. I may even drill some holes in here. But I'm designing this as I go along, and we'll go from there. Okay, so now I got my burner covers in there. You can see the burners are hanging down. Now here's the thing, I can't just put a full front skin on here because I need the ability to reach in here and adjust the volume on the flames. So this is where the part gets tricky. And then obviously I got to build a nice lid so that this looks like a regular old box when it's all said and done. So what I'm going to do is put a half sheet here to cover up most of that, make it wide enough I can fit my hand in there comfortably, and then put a second piece on there that's removable, which I'm going to have to figure out with a peg system, and then build my lid. So I got to do all those measurements, and then we'll get there when we get there. Okay, so I haven't painted it yet, and you know, it was going to take way too long to get this project done if I filmed every little aspect of it, so I decided not to. It's still rough. I got to paint it yet, but here we are. So looks like your standard box. That's going to be a little hard because of me holding the camera. Pull this off. Now I did make a little change from the last time you saw it. I lift the top off. I got these pegs in here. Then you have your burners. And then we lift this up. Now I can control the burners. Now I can control my flame, cook. Originally we had the gap back here and a gap up front, but I was concerned about the heat bouncing off that wood and causing a flame. So I did a little quick redesign. And so that is my cook stove. Now I am going to paint this with a high temperature paint up top and then paint the rest of it brown. I'm really not concerned about a fire simply because, as I stated when this whole thing started, a friend of mine has had one of these for quite a few years. We've made many a breakfast and cooked many a pots of coffee without issue. So I'm not concerned with fire on here, but just in case, I'm going to spray paint the top with high temperature paint that you would use on exhaust pipes and engine blocks, and then paint the rest of it in OD khaki. Once I get that done, I will post the rest. This is the second steak I've cooked today, and for those of you worried about the wood, after cooking the first one I did some inspection. There's no damage to the wood and no risk of fire. And I would definitely say having steak makes this camping experience that much more fun. And so I wanted to record a quick ending to this video because I really didn't talk too much about it when I shot the footage of me using it at the Georgia World War II weekend. As you can see, it's done. I did say earlier in the video I was going to paint it OD khaki. When I grabbed my can of paint, I thought I was using my OD khaki until I laid the first swipe down, and so I said to hell with it, and I just continued using that color. As I said, I did, in fact, use engine paint on it. Now, I will say this, did get a little sketchy when I was cooking 4 pounds of hamburger due to the wind and the grease. So, lesson learned, just so I don't have to keep blowing out the grease when it lights up. Anytime I cook anything that produces large amounts of grease, I'm going to use my little cast iron skillet. But other than that, cooking low grease items such as steaks, pork chops, hot dogs, coffee, water, soup, things like that works great. If you're going to cook something that produces a lot of grease such as bacon and or hamburger, cook it in large quantities and cook it in a skillet so that you can drain the grease out in between your courses. Because using the grill top with the 4 pounds of hamburger produced a lot of grease. And it's just, with the wind, it made a mess. You can see the grease stains on the front. So other than that, yep, I'm happy with it. And it was definitely nice and enjoyable to have a hot dinner that I didn't have to leave camp for at the end of the event. So Give me your comments below. Tell me how I'm stupid and how this thing's going to catch on fire and burn down one day. And if you have any other comments, let me know. Once again, it does make for nice storage in there as well. My small Westinghouse brand cast iron skillet does fit down in there. But that's my box. Hope you like it.